Let's say the toilet ain't filling up. No water in the toilet tank. Yeah, the water's on. And if I hit it like that, it'll fill up. The old classic bad fill valve. Let's go ahead and get the new one ready. These have to be lifted a little bit. They have to go a little higher. The tank's a little higher. Now when we pull the old one, boop, alley-oop real quick with the new one. Yeah, I decided to get all that blue chlorine out of there. So I just let it drain instead of going quick with the new one. Alright, with the nuts, I do hand tight. And then half a turn with the pliers. Same with the supply line. Supply line was good, it's not rotted. It's a fairly new building, so the supply line is still good. The gasket was all rotted, I would change it out as well. Alright, new fill valve installed. No leakies. Oh yeah, you can send some monsters down here. They're gonna be good to go. On to the next adventure. But they said the lights flicker on the ceiling fan. I can't get it to do it, but I'm sure when that limiter in there gets hot, it starts to flicker. I called Kichler about this. This is a Kichler ceiling fan, and they said, yep, it's a big issue. Bypass the limiter, take it out. So that's what we started doing. Manufacturer says we can do it, I'll do it. The limiter is like a energy saver. It limits the power. I guess just in case somebody wants to put a crazy bulb in there. You can't even get them to you can rarely get these residents to change their own light bulb. You're gonna get them to, dang, somebody wrench down on that sucker. they're going to put in a crazy bulb. They don't even change their own light bulb half the time. So once you get the globe and everything off, we're going to pull this light kit down and I'll show you where the limiter is and how to bypass it. If you ever run into this issue, you can do all other brands too. So I've heard from the comment section. I've got other videos on this. The wire color might be different though on other brands. Again, this is a Kichler, so if you're doing it on a Hampton Bay, wire colors might be different. All the screws are loose. Unplug it. Alright, so this right here is the limiter. A lot of people ask what it does. It's like an energy saver. I get all the little zip ties off. It's like a big old spaghetti with wires in here, so to spread them out you gotta get the wire or the zip tie off. That way I can show you easier what to do. So what you're going to want to do is, see this blue wire coming out of the plug harness? Now this is for a Kichler. Might be different on a Hampton Bay or other brand. But this blue wire here, coming out of the harness, you're going to want to cut it. And then, see the black wire coming up out of the middle there? This black wire here, it comes down from the light bulb area. You will cut that as well. Let's see, I'll cut it here. It's the black wire. I'll cut it a little closer underneath the white part there. And those are the only two wires you're going to cut. I'm sorry, you'll have to cut the white wire as well. You're going to just get that white wire totally out of there. Again, I know it's spaghetti. That's why I take everything off. Let's see if I can find where the white wire goes. Anyway, the white wire coming out of the limiter, just cut it and it should come out. There you go. Now to bypass it, you're going to want to take the black wire that you cut, coming out from the middle where the bulbs are, strip it. Trying to keep this camera in focus here. And do the same with the blue wire that you cut coming out of this plug harness. There it is. Give it an old stripping. Boop. Grab your little wire nut and wire nut the blue and the black together. And this will prevent the light from flickering. Now you can start easy and just do the bulbs at first, but then if they say, oh, it's still flickering, you can come back and do this. That's what I do. Make sure the bulbs are in good. Sometimes they're loose and flickering from the ceiling fan going round and round. Over time the bulbs get loose. And you can take this white wire as well and put a little wire nut on it just to cover it up. But that white wire is totally out of the loop now. It's just a neutral. And you can throw a little electrical tape on the bottom just to make sure they don't unseat themselves. But that's it. That's how you take a limiter out and bypass it. Again, the blue wire coming out of this harness to the black wire coming out of the middle there from the bulb area right there. Plug it back in here and just do everything in reverse. I like to get some new bulbs and put them in. I use the little candelabra base bulbs. Alright, everything's back together. Here goes the true test. Voila, that easy. No flickering. Bad limiter. I'll split it open. We can look inside, see if we see any burn marks on why it's crapped its pants. Sometimes you see it, sometimes you don't. Let me get this globe back up there first. Alright, I pulled the cover off the limiter. I don't see any burn marks or anything. All the little capacitors don't look blown. There's a little white gunk right here. I'm not sure if that's a little electronic grease they put on it or what. That could be the issue though. Maybe something exploded, I don't know. But nothing too obvious like a swollen capacitor or nothing. But that's what the inside of a limiter looks like. Again, it's supposed to be an energy saver, I've heard. So yeah. Alright, on to the next one. As you can see, this one is a success. Got the globe back on. Make sure nothing blows when I turn the fan on. Nope, they're good. Alright guys, off to the next adventure. Alright, today we got us a no cooling call. 75 in here. We'll set to 75. Let's see, no ice. Filter looks good. What do we got in the float switch? Nothing, it's dry. We'll go check the charge. The most common issue low refrigerant is the most common. I'm gonna bump that up for now. Go hook up gauges and come turn it back on. Let me slide this new filter in. Yeah, I get a lot of comments from homeowners. What's the most common issue with ACs? Be capacitors and this right here, low on refrigerant. Now I'm just assuming that's what it is because we have a lot of leaking coils out here. For those of you who watch, you know we are at class action lawsuit status with all these leaking coils. Let me hook up my gauges and we'll check the charge. Alright, gauges and temperature probes hooked up. My thermal couplings. Go ahead and get the air out of the line. You don't want air getting in. So I'll just bleed it back real quick. Air is a non-condensable. You don't want that in there. Alright, let's go turn the unit on and see what we got. Alright, we got a new filter. You're also going to want the door closed because that can affect the suction pressure as well. One time I was down there looking at gauges and my coworker was opening and closing this door and I could see the suction pressure going up and down, up and down. So that matters. Make sure the door is closed and let's get it fired up. Make sure the inside comes on. Yep, I can hear refrigerant as well, so it's probably going to be low. Let's go see. Blowing cool air out the top. I already know it's low. Yep. For you new guys, see how that saturation is at 32 degrees? Well, 32 is freezing, right? So that's why you see ice on the coil and on the suction line. We got to get this above freezing at least. This is a TXV, so we got to charge by a subcool. Give it a little juice and then back it off. Don't just turn it on and walk away. I see a lot of guys just turn it on and then go get on the phone somewhere. Not a good idea, Skid. See, we're above freezing now, so we're out of danger of ice. VSAT, the saturation. You want that above 32 or you're gonna have freezing. Would any of you guys like to touch my monkey? Would you like to touch my monkey? Yeah, so in my opinion, this, low refrigerant and capacitors is the most common problems with air conditioners. In my opinion anyway. I get asked that a lot. And for you maintenance techs, when you get a call like this, you're gonna have to find the leak and fix it, because you will be back. Maybe 2 weeks, maybe 2 years, but you will be back. This means that there's a leak. The refrigerant is leaking out of the system somewhere. Saturation at 44. I like that. We're not in any danger of icing up. Subcool's coming up. I'll be back. All right, big dog. Little subcool sitting at 12. I'm gonna leave it at that. That's where we leave these. Superheat's a little high, but y'all remember from past videos, these little Goodmans have the rotary compressor in them. They're not the Copeland scroll, and what I've noticed with these rotaries, they're just a little squirrely, man. But it cools. Subcool is hunting around 12. That's where we leave it. Head pressure 297, suction 124. Not in any danger of freezing. I'm gonna leave it here. Well, there's good news. It went from 75 to 73. If you remember when we showed up, it was 75 in here. That's good. In the 15 minutes that I had it going, came down 2 degrees. Let's turn the system off and check for a leak. I got the leak detector warming up down here. There it goes. I get a lot of know-it-alls like, oh, static pressure, you didn't check everything. You're supposed to make the plenum look like a porcupine with probes and do all amperage. Guys, I'd love to. I'd love to sit here and nerd out on the system and all that, but I got other things to go look at. I'm not an HVAC guy. I don't work for an HVAC company. I got other things to look at. Washers, dryers, sinks, toilets, doors. Oh, static pressure. He didn't do it right. He didn't do it right. Oh my goodness. But happy people don't do things like that, you know, so you just let it go. Happy people don't cruise the internet looking to be mean and rude to strangers. So I just delete and move on with my happy life. Where are you at? I'll find you. Yep, if you don't make the plenum look like a porcupine with probes and amperage and taking everything apart, you didn't do it right. Well, I didn't find anything. It's probably really small. One of those every 2 or 3 years kind of leaks. Right now we're dealing with the once every few months leaks, slowly making our way through these coils. This is the first company coil, by the way. It's usually the 3.2 hvac QBR that leaks, but this is a 19. It's usually the 3.2s that are leaking, so we're just slowly making our way around. The squeaky wheel gets the grease, so that's what we do. But this one didn't find anything, so it's probably super slow. But we'll get to it one day. It's only 2 of us, only so much we can do. So, alright guys, that's it. That's the most common issue with HVAC units, refrigerant and capacitors. We'll see you in the next one. Late.